Good afternoon to everyone. This is one of the good occasions and fun occasions that I get to do as governor, to make an appointment to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, which is not just one of the most important commissions in the Arkansas that has jurisdiction over so much of the quality of life that we desire here in this state, but it's also one of the most hotly contested appointments I have to make. And so it's not only a joy, but it's a relief to make these announcements. And I am very honored to be joined by the Game and Fish Commission that continues to serve our state. And I want to express appreciation to Andrew Parker. Andrew Parker is our outgoing chairman, but let me tell you, he has steered so well the commission during his time of leadership. He served, is it 7 or 10 years? 7. 7 years of great service. Please give Andrew a round of applause. And then Bobby Martin is our incoming chairman, who I'm very proud of his leadership and service. Would you do the honor of introducing the commissioners that are here?
I'd be happy to, Governor. And for Andrew, I'd have to say 7 years, but we made it tough enough on him last year, and it felt like 10, right, Andrew? I am happy to, Governor, and with us, I guess everybody, you can't miss anyone anyway, but Stan Jones, who came in right behind me, J.D. Neely, Anne-Marie Doremus, Rob Finley. We have fun together, Governor, and we don't mind when one of us stands out a little bit more than others. So, Benny Westfall, Benny, please stand up. Benny showed up, he said, Bobby said, Governor, you know how thankful we are about Benny stepping in a very difficult time behind the loss of Joe Morgan. But Benny very quickly told us that everybody needed to know, one of us had to be out on the water making sure we knew where fish were biting and the conditions. So he's got updated reports for all of you. We're glad to be here, Governor.
And we have a number of former Game and Fish commissioners that are here. Would you stand and let us express thanks to you? George here, Freddie, who else is here? That's a great group. And I'm going to be in your ranks soon, which means I will be term limited. They are term limited, but they continue to serve the state in many ways. And I know Pat Fitz has served us well as executive director, and I want to recognize him. Is Pat here? I think he yielded today, but what a gentleman he is, and what a great servant he's been for the Game and Fish Commission. But that leads me to this being an incredibly special day, because not only do I get to announce a new commissioner, but I also get to introduce Austin Booth. Austin has already been announced, but this happens to be his first day on the job at the Game and Fish Commission as executive director. Now, Austin, I want to say a word about him because it's his first day, and his background is so incredible, what he brings to the Game and Fish Commission. He'll be the 19th director of the commission. He is a native of Scott, and he is coming from the Arkansas Department of Veterans Affairs, where he has served as chief of staff and financial officer and did an amazing job. So I got to see him perform, and he's amazing. And Austin is a graduate of Little Rock Catholic High School and the Citadel. He earned his law degree at the University of South Carolina School of Law, and he deployed to Afghanistan in 2015 and 2016. Not only could he be a good executive director of the Game and Fish Commission, I think he'd be a great candidate for office with that background. But I'll stop there. And he rose to the rank of captain at that time, and we've got his lovely family here that Austin will get to say a few words in a few minutes, can introduce his family. But welcome, Austin. Let's give him a round of applause and show appreciation. Exciting day. And now to the big news for the day, and that is the new commissioner. And I'm very honored to make the appointment of Philip Tappan as the new Game and Fish Commissioner. Now, Philip, I know they're all your friends in here and they know you, but I'm going to tell them about you anyway. And it's important to recognize his service, and it's an incredible service of business leadership, entrepreneurship, but also community service. And that's really what typifies Philip Tappan and also makes him the great appointment for commissioner. He's managing partner of Tappan Land and Water, owns a majority interest in Quality Foods, most importantly is the parent company of Purple Cow Restaurants. And that we know. And as a leader in the community, Philip holds or has held many different positions, including the board of directors for Delta Trust and Bank, Simmons Bank, CHI St. Vincent System Foundation, Arkansas Symphony Orchestra Board, Arkansas Community Foundation, and Arkansas Food Bank Network. Those are incredible areas of service and contributions that he has made. The list goes on. But Philip is married to Gina. Where's Gina? Right here. Okay, go, Gina. Gina, and they have 3 children, Drew, Madison, and Sarah. So could the family stand? I know we've got son-in-law Mike here. Please all stand and be recognized. Now, let me talk more personally about Philip and why I selected him among many that were qualified. It would have been super, but Philip stands head and shoulders above because of his community commitment, his passion, his genuine passion for the outdoor living and sports that we have in Arkansas, both hunting and fishing. But you know, that's one measure of a person. But then it's his understanding of the need of conservation and the responsibility that we have to our incredible natural heritage. And that's why each of these commissioners are on the commission. That's what they bring to it, and Philip joins those ranks with being passionate not just about the sport of hunting and fishing, but also the responsibility we have to be good stewards of God's creation and the special place that we call Arkansas. And so that to me is what the Game and Fish Commission means, but also it's the business experience, and I think that is particularly timely with where we are with our Game and Fish Commission these days, that we have business decisions to make, business responsibilities, as well as recruitment of new hunters and fishermen in Arkansas, and to bring it into the next generation. I think Philip, with his passion, his business sense, will be a great addition to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. So please join me in welcoming our next commissioner, Philip Tappan.
Thank you, Governor. What an extreme honor you've served me with, and now comes the time for me to pay this forward to the people of Arkansas, the staff at Game and Fish Commission. Before I do that, though, I want to take a breath and pinch myself to make sure this is real, but and not only announce a few people, Governor, you talked about my lovely wife of 37 years, 40 that we've been dating, and I couldn't have done any of this without her. To Sarah, I just want to expand, not only married to Dr. Michael Drake, a pretty good basketball, she's arguably the best angler in the family, and I love that she carries on the tradition of outdoors in our family. I've got 2 brothers. Of the 4 brothers I endured growing up, I'm the youngest of 5. Our blessed mother lived to 87. Can you believe that? Rearing. And 2 are out of state and 2 are here with me. Charlie from Helena, who still lives at home in our hometown, and David from Independence County. Thank you. David's particularly involved in habitat management with Dr. Lowry Barnes and I, a project he funds but rarely ever sees. David does most of the work there. And Governor, if you'll indulge me just a moment more, I also offer my thanks to Andrew Parker and what he's done. Andrew, you know, I don't know you well, but I'll say anybody that has done as much for wildlife in the time that you've contributed, and a friend of wildlife is a friend of mine. I appreciate you, and I'll look forward to try to seeking your guidance and advice. I'm so impressed with this group here, and we'll touch on our current commissioners that I get to join. One more introduction. Also, pretty seminal moment of retirement today is my preacher, who has been in the Episcopal Church for probably 30 plus years in Arkansas and served as my pastor, and also Deke Whitbeck at the Game and Fish Foundation. Deke's there. Danny Schiffler grew up with me in Helena, but here's, Governor, why I'm most pleased that Danny's continuing to talk about who he knows me. He's a heck of a fisherman. So I'm going to move from getting one type of counsel from him now to another type of counsel. Danny, I expect fishing reports, just like from Benny, okay? We're appreciative. Also, Sonny Varnell. I think, Freddie, you and George served with Sonny. That's Danny's uncle. Governor, your call last Friday to me was certainly one of the high points of my life. Those men and women that are current commissioners, men and women, I should say, are all now your appointees, and we know how seriously you take this service. The interest in the job is extreme, as he pointed out, and something, audience, you should know is the governor's knowledge of our state's habitat, his commitment to wildlife, and the emphasis on good public access. He talked about that to me often, and how important it was in the interviews and discussions leading up to my selection. It makes me even more committed to our state, the Game and Fish, and to please our governor. I plan to take this work with the same vigor and devotion that he did in this vetting process. While it is the governor's choice and the governor's alone, I know that, there was sure a tremendous amount of support. Many in this room of advocates, letter writers, and former commissioners. That's somebody I hope, just like with Andrew, to continue to seek wisdom from, and they gave me a lot of tremendous counsel. Freddie Black led that group. George Dunklin, I'll talk about a little bit more. Jim Hinkle, Sheffield Nelson, Ken Reeves, thank you all for being here. Mike Freese, Brett Morgan, and Brother Ford Overton. They all were just tremendous input to me, and I couldn't have been able to talk to the governor, logically and knowledgeable without these gentlemen. Current commissioners, I left you all alone because it's not fair to ask you to come into a firefight when you're going to serve with me. But I did have to seek a woman's perspective, and Anne Marie was very helpful, and thank you. I don't like to talk about myself, but it's important that you see the lens of which through I kind of look at Game and Fish and my obligation and going forward. I'm a fourth generation Arkansan, grew up in Helena. Danny calls us Delta refugees. There's probably more scattered around the state than there, but I still call it home. I still have a hunting place there, and Charlie keeps us well up to speed. I was reared like many of you in a household of people that had a love for the out of doors. Not only a father who was the most avid duck hunter I know and probably hunted into the last 20 years of his life, 25, 30 days a year, made it into the office still every day by 9 or 9:15, later years maybe 9:30, but a mother who was just as adamant about the habitat, nature, and I still remember the Reed's Songbird book that sat on our coffee table, and it was just as important for us to know every species of indigenous birds. Don't you find so oftentimes the hunters in our society are very much matched with, or are in fact, the conservationists too? You hear radical comments and thoughts sometimes of where would our wildlife be without hunting? I look at it like, where would this wildlife be without the hunter? That's generally the person that's putting the most time and effort into conservation, and my parents epitomified that remark. My brothers were instrumental to my formation as a sportsman also. I've introduced 2 of them. There were 4 of them, and there was not a time where you couldn't hear somebody practicing their yelp on a Lynch turkey call box, or someone tuning a duck call, or cleaning a gun on the utility room counter. Or even as extreme, Mark Hedrick will appreciate this, one of these guys back here would pour his own plastic worm so we could get just the right feel and color for the largemouth bass. It was a wonderful environment to grow up in. My fishing side was really mentored by my maternal grandfather, C.M. Young, who was the publisher of the Helena World. And through all of his years of working in the industry and publishing a paper and meeting deadlines, Wednesday afternoons during the summer, he always went fishing. And one of us grandkids got to accompany him often. You know, my outdoors, I could talk for days on the stories, and the governor said, please, you know, not 30 minutes, but, you know, all the experiences of many in this room that have impressioned me in hunting over the years. And it is, I think it's one of the most experiential learning processes there is to see other hunters. But I want to talk about just for a moment kind of a pivot point in my outdoor life that changed in 2006, I believe it was, 2007. Partners and I were contemplating a set aside of some property into the Wetland Reserve Program. Kevin Hutchinson, one of my partners, spoke up and said, I hear George Dunklin's doing some pretty instrumental things, and maybe we should call him. I said, I'll call George. He was a good customer of Quality Foods at the lodge and his successful convenience store travel center in DeWitt. After a day in the car with George and Jody Pagan of learning the practices of ground manipulation to introduce new inherent species, mulching on the understory, water controls, planting of supplemental feed, I became bitten by the habitat restoration. And George, it's so impressive to see last Sunday in the paper the 6 students which he's graduating out of UAM from his contribution, but you've paid it forward so many times, and that's been an impression upon me. Governor, I'll try to wrap it up. Of course, my family's impressioned me in so many ways, but leadership, as you talked about, in those organizations, I hope will give me a perspective on managing better and being a better commissioner. When developing strategies with my fellow commissioners, I want to always keep 2 constituencies very near and dear. Number 1, the dedicated men and women of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. They're our internal customers. They should be the ones that we think about of removing obstacles to make their job more successful. And we've got a great group I'm just beginning to meet. The other constituency are external customers, the anglers, the hunters, the outdoors people in the state of Arkansas. Nowhere is this last group, Governor, more important than the evidence of you and Secretary Hurst forming the creating the Office of Outdoor Recreation. There is no doubt a symbiotic relationship between Game and Fish and parks and tourism and the other activities that we as Arkansans enjoy outside, and I hope we can continue to partner on that. As I close, I understand budgets will continue to probably be a constraint for 7 years of my term. Shifting migrations continue. Declines in turkey populations and songbirds is a real problem and a concern. CWD climate challenges will further complicate our mission. But with a talented and energetic new director who, y'all, I am so pleased of getting to meet Austin and seeing now his lovely family. I just couldn't be more encouraged, and with the men and women at Game and Fish Commission, I couldn't be more encouraged about the future. These challenges are plentiful, but with the team assembled, much is possible. Thank you all so much for your time and being here. Governor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, that gets me excited. And so thank you, Philip, for being willing to serve. And now I've asked Austin to come his first day on the job just to greet everybody, and that way you can put a face with his work. Austin, please come up and welcome.
Well, thank you to everyone that came. I want to make this brief so I'm not the shortest serving director in commission history. It's hard for us to look anywhere around our state and not see the outdoors. We see it in our landscape, from the Ozark Mountains in northwest Arkansas to the bottomlands and the timber of southern Arkansas. We see it in our economy, how it is outdoors focused, whether it's agriculture or timber or fish or livestock. But where we see the outdoors most, in my opinion, is in our people. If any of you were there when I was announced at the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission headquarters, I said then, and I'll say now, that the outdoors is what gives us Arkansans our distinctive virtues, those virtues that set us apart from people from other states. And so we have this wonderful paradox of natural things not involving people, and how that nurtures us as people. So you have this wonderful paradox between outdoors and people, and that is mirrored in the Arkansas Game and Fish mission, is to conserve fish, wildlife, and their habitat, and then bring that to Arkansans. So you have outdoors and people. And I have not had a lot of time to get to know Mr. Tappan, but in meeting you on Monday and talking to lots of people about you since then, there are two things that stand out about him. It's outdoors and people. He is tenacious about turkey hunting. He is tenacious enough about fishing to make his own rubber worms. And in our brief conversation on Monday, one of the things that I learned that he cares the second most about is habitat. And as we have an eye towards fluctuations in weather, fluctuations in hunting demographics, access for the public to continue to hunt and fish and enjoy everything that Arkansas has to offer is just absolutely critical. But the thing that he cares the most about, and you talk to anybody that knows him, is people. He's successful in his business, and that has never once come at the expense of people. I had a 5-minute conversation with him, and my overwhelming takeaway was just the deep sense of interest that he had in other people and the joy that he had just to be talking to you. His life, as I understand it, has been built around outdoors and people, and that is exactly what we stand for at the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And he will join a family that I have enjoyed getting to know since June 14th. I'm thrilled to be here, thrilled for the future and what it holds, and welcome, Mr. Tappan.
Well, as Austin mentioned, the changing weather, the thunderclouds came. Listen, that concludes our great discussion today and announcement. Thank you for being here. It made it very, very special. And I know as members of the media might have questions, Commissioner Tappan will be available as well as Austin. Thank you very much.